So, when people ask me, when my girl, she works at this insurance company, and at that time she was the only black person there, and I came as her plus one, and I'm sitting there, you're gonna get that question. So Ty, what do you do? What kind of work do you do? All this,
That's
stuff.
all everybody wants to know.
And so I'm sitting there saying to myself, okay, and I've been down this road before. Do I tell you I'm a stand-up comedian and an actor, or do I tell you I work for LA County Probation Department, Juvenile Hall, working with murderers, rapists, gangbangers, and pedophiles? Where do I go? Because as soon as I go down this road, it's going to open up a whole can of worms, and we're going to be,
real deep.
Folks are going to be sitting there tripping. Well, what? Well, how does that happen? And they're going to be losing it.
So I got a question for you, because this is what I've encountered being a teacher.
Right.
Especially, I've never been in a nice school, quote unquote, nice school.
Right.
So when people ask me about what it's like teaching, they either go, "Oh my God," or they're like, "How dare you talk about like I'm somehow relaying false information
about like if you critique the profession, people act like you're just torturing babies."
Yeah, but meanwhile, I'm just telling
being mean.
I'm just telling them the reality. Has that happened to you, where people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe."
Well, no, they don't. No, they're fascinated because they've never talked to a guy who works in this world. You see, they've never been around, and to know a 17-year-old murder. If I tell you about Davis, who shot his mother in the back of the head while she was eating a taco at the dinner table. I mean,
Sorry, I laughed.
Davis. You're just gonna blame, and you didn't even let her finish eating before you killed her. You shot her in the back of the head. Or I tell you about Davis' son, who shot his mother in the back with a .22 rifle because she refused to replace the equipment in the house that he was using to grow weed.
Wow.
Right? Because it shorted out all
He's
the
like, my
electricity.
hydroponic got messed up, and he's like, no,
and he refused.
This is a true story?
This is a true story. So she would not replace it. So what does he do? He starts, he the only way they caught him is that he was talking about killing her in his diary.
Wow.
Right? And so he became a devil worshiper, and he also started doing acid.
Oh my gosh.
So after he started doing the acid,
it's the world
and he, got together with a friend of his. They got the rifle, and then next thing you know, he shoots his mother and they run. Now, they didn't find the gun because someone stole the car that they were in. So they end up finding, but the only way they caught him because they read his diary, and he had talked about killing his mother because she refused to replace the equipment in the house.
That's crazy.
Dude, that's crazy. And also...
But then again, now, and mind you, straight A students.
See?
Wait, he was a straight A student?
Both of them were. The black dude the black kid, Davis, wasn't, and he thought he was a genius.
Wait, he was a black kid and a devil worshiper?
No, the white kid was the devil worshiper.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Right. Okay. The black dude was just pissed because he said, she was effing with me, man. And I told her, man, and he did the way he did it. He's 14. He said, and his dad had just left to go to the store. He said, "Hey, man, I'll be right back." He was talking to his buddies. "I'm going to go in and take care of some business, and I'll be right back."
Like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
And he had already planned this.
But quick question. How was his life? Were they privileged kids or struggling kids?
I would say that the black kid was probably lower middle class. The white kid was probably lower middle class, or he was middle class because she kept replacing, gave him what he wanted.
Absolutely.
But
that
wasn't the killer part. The killer part for me was when the rapist showed up, right? And there was this kid, and he's
that's the bottom of the totem pole. Here's the thing. When you always hear of like rapists in prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, everybody kind of like, nobody really likes them. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like
bad things happen to them.
Bad things happen
to
rapists in prison.
Yeah.
Does this happen when somebody is in juvenile, like juvie, and they're a rapist? Are they still the lotus on the totem pole?
Well,
but they're all kids.
I mean, how does that happen at that age?
What, him becoming a rapist? Well, it was probably done to him.
Exactly.
Pedophiles, I had a friend of mine, his cousin had been molested by his father. By his uncle. He had been molested by the uncle, and his wife told him she was pregnant.
Wow.
All of a sudden, he starts freaking out. And when she, and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And so when she finally had that baby, he thought that what done to him, what if I do that to my child?
Wow.
Because of what had been done to him. He hadn't been to therapy. He hadn't dealt with these things. And that's the other part of it. Because, one thing about working in probation, all the issues that I was going through, it made me deal my own demons. Mm-hmm. All the bullies that I dealt with. I mean, I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois. And when you grew up in the ghetto,
school near there.
And then now Byron the bully, I see him. I see him. All these people, all this problem. I'm sitting in a room full of murderers, or I'm sitting in a room full of gangbanging, which I didn't understand gangbanging. And as I, comedy was the only way to get me to. They became my audience. So I started storytelling in front of them because why? I was a reader.
The rapists and the pedophiles and
I would sit in front of them, right? And
Did you get them to laugh?
Oh yeah.
Did you get them to laugh?
You're like the LeVar Burton of Juvie.
The beauty of the beauty of talking to them was to work at Juvie and to work even in Europe, structure and discipline is your friend. If you cannot have structure and discipline, you're not going to be able to control them. But we don't talk at them, we talk with them.
Okay.
So when so we'd have different companies come in and they talk to the kids, what you need to do, and you need to live this way, and you need to and the kids just sit there and look at it.
Yeah. Check out.
Yeah.
What you do is you come in and you say, do you like sex, boy? Well, yes, sir, I do. Then stay the hell out. Because the only thing you're going to see up in here is balls and ass. You're not going to see nothing else up in here. And they start laughing. So now what have we done? We've lowered.
Connection.
And the brain has opened.
Yeah.
We took away from them. Now I can talk to you. Okay? Because I'm getting ready to talk. And I come in a way, I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to give guidance. And so when I come talking to you, now some of them you can get to, some of them you're not going to be able to because they're just too far gone, right? You're not going to get the kid who he knows that he's just a fool and ain't nothing you're going to do.
Yeah.
The kid that been caught, whose file looks like he's got volume 1 and volume 2.
Yeah.
You may not reach him.
He's gone.
Because he's already, and I used to tell him, bruh, you should stop stealing. You're not good at it. Oh no, sir, you understand? No, you're not good.
Tap out.
And some kids that you had the drug dealer who was brilliant. It's a genius when it came to numbers. He knew how to weigh shit. He could weigh. He could tell you how much a pound of weed was just looking at it. He could count money without that. And he had never been. He wasn't in school. He didn't finish school, but he could do calculus. He could do all this thing, but he hated school. So was he dyslexic? Don't know. These are all these different issues that if you're dealing with a community, you want to get a kid to stop. We start in the community. You do what Wes Moore is doing over in Maryland. You start in the community. You get them high school jobs. You get them jobs out of high school. Yeah. When they're in high school, you get them. You have after school programs. You give them things to do because everybody knows an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So if you're not doing anything, what are you raising? He's going to go and do. And who's vulnerable? That single parent kid that gangs love. Oh man, you like family to us, bro. You can be with us, bro. And you talk them into coming into your world. Because gangs are equal opportunists. They'll take anybody.
Absolutely.
They'll take it anybody. We got a kid in only had one arm. I said, man, why? He was a game man. He was hard.
Dude, because he probably had so much to shoot.
Oh, man, cuz you know me, cuz. Come down and you cut.
He has to.
Right? And then you go into all that and you say, hey man, what are you in for? Armed robbery? Right. Hold up. Walk out the room and you got to bust up laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's so funny because how does he even cock the gun? Does he just like...
Right. Oh, no. Deaf gangbangers.
Yes. I got a cousin like that.
They can't hear the cops coming.
You can't hear
That's
that.
why they're in with you because they didn't hear anything.
You can't hear that ass whooping coming. What are you doing? What are you doing, dude?
So what's so funny about what you work with is they were asking me about this. It says, hello, my name is Mr. Jones. And this is literally the open house thing. But the parents that showed up are the parents who will never visit you. Because they like literally they're so invested in their kid's life. But like the parents who don't show up, I feel like that's who is more privy to meeting you.
Well, if you want to know who the parents are whose kids are getting locked up. Now, mind you, I even had staff that I work with at Juvie. Their kids was getting locked up too. We had a dude, he was a director. His grandson was a thug. Judge Dorn, who was called the hangman judge, who became the mayor of Inglewood. Okay, his own son got killed at County Youth Authority.
Yeah.
Wow.
They snapped his neck. And
Wait, what did he do at county?
At County Youth Authority. That's like your that's one step from prison.
Yep.
Okay, so he was in trouble. He wasn't
and he was in court and he cussed out his dad, talking all kinds of trash. And that's you think you bad? Send his butt to county, but he should have did it. His son was a gangbanger. Because as soon as you get in, they gonna hit you up.
Yeah.
And we had a girl that was locked up in there. She had looked like Halle Berry, fine as wine. Fine as wine. But bro, she had been gang raped.
Oh,
so she had no feeling for nobody, and they used to hire her to smoke people.
Yep.
She had no empathy.
No, she was like an assassin.
She was gone already.
She's beautiful.
Someone like that, when you get them in prison, or like just juvie, whatever, like someone like that, do you still see a little bit of life in their eyes? Can you still talk to them and relate and like laugh, and then they kind of like smirk, or is it like they've almost seared their conscience?
We had kids.
There's nothing up home.
We had kids that we taught them how to clean. This is what probation took away. Chores.
Okay.
We'd have kids mop, sweep, clean the room, clean the bathroom. They called being a KP. They loved it. We had movie night. We would bring in pizzas and everything, dude. And we would say, "Hey, bruh, if you see your homie, if you see anybody on your side screwing up, check him. Don't put your hands on him, but check him and let him know, dude, you screwing up our night." Because staff will go out, bring in pizza. We'll have movie night. We'll bring in games, let them play Xbox. And we do all kinds of stuff. They took all that away.
So that actually brings up a really good question. You say they took all that away. So you guys sounds like you had a good kind of system going on, because when kids learn to take care of their surroundings, you start to have respect for things. Right. You also don't damage things because it's part of your property, even though you don't own it. What happened that they took all this away? Because that sounds like just a good thing.
You're still gonna have some bad apples as far as staff go. You're gonna have some guys like because my friends used to always say, "Hey man, ship you out for the holidays, man. Where you going?" I said, "Bro, we don't close. We don't get holidays off unless it falls on your day off. We never shut down. We're open 24/7."
Yeah, you guys are like Denny's.
Yeah. And so we had bad apples in the States. So if you at work and say you're working 10 to 6 shift, you're working 2 to 10 shift, and it's 10 minutes time for you to go home. And kid gets up and he knocks, right? Because you should get all your head calls done because you got the key. You got to let them out of their room, and you got to let them use that. So they do the showers, and they do their letter writing, and then everything by they should be down by 8:30, 9 o'clock. That is what should be happening. Then if you got anybody up, that would be your KP. He's mopping floors, wiping stuff down, folding up clothes, something like that. These are all chores you gave them. But then again, there are those their job is only to sit back and figure out how to get over. That's all they're doing. So we had a staff. He eventually, kid kept knocking. He said, "Hey man, I told you to get off your door." So this is when we used to double bunk. And so instead of giving the kid the head call 10 minutes before it's time for him to go home, he went in and whooped his ass. Okay.
Yeah.
Kid ends up with a giant knot on his head. You come in 10 to 6 and you go, oh my God, he didn't do any paperwork. So now, investigation is going to go down. You're trying to keep this, make sure that this doesn't get out.
Blow up, yeah.
Right. And so, so you put him under suspension. You figure out how he made a mistake. He says, "I'm good, man. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah." And, 2 weeks later, he comes back from work. They let him back in. Within 2 weeks, he did it again. They fired him.
Wow.
So
man.
So just putting your hands on kids for the hell of it, because you can, got us in trouble. Also, you don't write well. So that's where they start getting in trouble. If you restrain a kid, you got to know how to write that up.
Absolutely.
You can't be writing like a 5-year-old. That's going to go to that judge. And if that judge looks at, who the hell wrote this?
Yeah, he hurt me first.
But what are the qualifications to get a job like that? Is it, what I'm saying?
Group supervisor of nights is a high school diploma, because all you're doing is really doing head calls and everything. That's how it was when I started.
Okay.
You're just doing head calls. Get them up in the morning. You know, you have restraint classes, so they teach you how to protect yourself. To be a detention service officer, DSO, you need 2 years of college. To be a what is that? To go to like a DPO 1 or DPO. No, I'm sorry. You need at least 4 years of college to become a DSO, detention service officer. You want to be a DPO 1 or 2, you need a master's degree. So you do have to have that education because writing is very important. And that's when they started to get them, and that's how they were able to fire staff. But they were also looking to bust you.
Sure.
Like they didn't, if your building, say your building was tip top shape. Well, what happens, the administration starts to go after you and turning the staff into the enemy. It's like, no, dude, you can't run this facility without us.
I got a question too.
Yeah.
How many kids are we dealing with at a time individually? So there's you, like how much is each person?
It used to start off with 5 staff. Okay, you used to have 45 kids. Okay. You had anywhere from
per 30, individual.
No, individual. You had 30. So there's 5 staff. You have the DSO. You'd have 2 DSOs, right? And that you have so we'll say unit L and M. So L and M on L side 30, M side 30. You have your senior staff. He's in the middle, and then you had a third staff who was like he's your third. So whatever.
So I'm thinking of it like a teacher. Like you step in. Right. How many kids are you talking to at once? Are you dealing with usually? Okay, so once third. Okay,
30. Cool. But when I started, we had over 1,200. We had like over 1,200 kids in the facility. That was back in June of '90.
And
so now it's been whittled down, but now you got rid of, even though you got rid of County Youth Authority, you took away all the tools that kept us safe. What saves staff and what's missing at Juvie now is camaraderie. Okay. We used to, so I got you. If all of us work in the same building, if you go after one, you got to deal with all of us.
Right.
So but it's all in your structure, and you let them know. So if they came in, this is normal. If you come into a unit, say you just walk through the door, you hear this, line it up, and they got to lock their elbows, relax. And these are the kids saying this, And when they come in, you get them up in the morning, if they step out of their room, you say, all right, we're going to start with our even side. Even side. You will say, on the count of 2, you will step out, grab your pants and shoes, and step back in your room. Yeah. Is that understood? Yes, sir. Yeah. And even side. On the count of 2, step out. 1, 2. They step out, grab their stuff, step back in the room. Close their door. Get dressed. Make sure your beds are made up. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Odd size. Step out. Grab your shoes, blah, blah, blah. Step back in your room. They do that. So they get dressed, get everything out. Then on the count of 2, we're gonna do, even side step out. I'm gonna take, and they had to do bobsled. So they would get down sit down on their butts, and they would sit bobsled. Give them a first 4 in the bathroom. You got 2 minutes. Brush your teeth, wash your face, get ready, that and that, and then step back and then take it in. So there's a third staff, hey, you say, hey Jones, or hey Matt, everybody went by last name, Jones. Take my, check my day room when they go in. Sit them down. And then, if you already had your KPs, you tell them, the kids that are going to set your food up and everything, you say, hey, Gonzalez, Sam's, grab the food, man. The count is such and such. Go in, set my tables up, get everything ready. This is every day.
Yeah. Right.
It's structured.
So you got a 6 to 2 shift. Then you got a 2 to 10 shift. Then you got a 10 to 6 shift. Yeah.
What happens to like the class clown type character? Like I'm sure you get that in Juvie. So he basically just goes in solitary confinement.
No. You pull him to the side. Yeah. You hand him over to your senior. If you have our senior, Jazz, because see, when you come into a facility, when you come in, and all the new kids, hey, come here, young man. Yeah. And you sitting at your chair. Sit down. No. Don't sit on the chair. Sit your ass on that floor. What's your name? So and so. Yeah. What set you from? Oh, I'm from such and such. You got any enemies? Yeah, such and such, such and such. Yeah. Let's go over a few house rules. And then you check him from the time he comes into the room, and then you check, and you tell him, you put your hands on anybody in here. Look over your shoulder, because I'm coming to get you.
That's right.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
Let me
So-
ask this. Have you ever had somebody, sorry, go ahead.
What you ask?
Well, no,
I was just going to say, have you ever had that
question.
not get cleared up to where it's like almost like they have like sociopathic level, where just no matter what you do, like the kid just doesn't like stop goofing off. Does that ever
Well, I mean,
happen?
goofing off is one thing.
I'm talking about,
but
like,
if he's a jerk and he's just been an a-hole, you isolate him, you check him because he's gonna get slammed. Let him know, dude, you gonna get. But see, back then we were hiring ex-NFL, ex-college football, basketball, male and female. We had guys who had, they came from the hood. So you got dudes who not only had street knowledge, but if they went to college, they had book knowledge. So you knew how to talk to kids.
Absolutely.
You knew how to check them and let them know. And so but also people got promoted. So when guys start promoting, you didn't replace them with someone that just left. And then all of a sudden things got about the money, and so pretty soon people, it used to be people loved overtime. Couldn't wait to do OT. I mean, it was like 5-6 days a week. We were building the high risk offender building, we call it the compound, getting that built up and everything. But then again, once all that was done and once that camaraderie left and looking out for each other. I mean, man, I watched guys. I went to weddings. I went to watch kids' birthday parties. Everything. You're all part of family. If you worked OT, hey man, we doing a food run. Hey Matt, what you want to eat? They would make sure you ate. They would make sure you were taken care of. They needed you. I was able to pay off student loans. I was able to pay off everything. We were tight.
I had a bond.
Little by little. They start pulling it away. They start pulling away.
So let me ask you a question, because it seems like you got a good head on your shoulder. Because how long you been doing this again?
I did it over 30 years, almost 40 years.
So you got to master the whole thing.
But I had no training when I went in.
Okay.
I knew nothing about it. I got that job in a bar on my last $8. I was
Okay.
just looking for a way to pay for my career as an actor and stand-up comedian.
Nice.
Yeah,
when did you
and
start
then-
stand-up?
Huh?
Did you?
I started doing stand-up in December of 90.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So what was comedy out? Because how do you let it go? Because you deal with a lot of stuff. You see a lot of stuff every day. How do you let it go when you go home?
Because I had an outlet.
For comedy,
Yeah,
correct?
I had an outlet. I mean, that
So
was the
if
whole.
you
I had
didn't
to
do
do it.
comedy, would you have become pissed off Juvie guy? That's like just like.
Well, a lot of
like-
guys didn't have a life.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
order to work in that type of business, you got to have a life, dude.
Absolutely.
I had an outlet.
Yeah, yeah.
I was taking acting class, 3-4 times a week. I was doing open mic 4 or 5 times a week. I did cast director showcases once a week. I ended up doing almost 13 national commercials. I did skits on Leno. I did That's Life with Paul Sorvino. So I was making progress. What I enjoyed is that I was looking for a vehicle that enabled me to be able to pay for my career and also I could have a life.
So that's why you got into it, was because
No,
comedy-
I didn't know anything about it. I'm sitting in a bar. I only got $8. I was living off of Devonshire and Lindley with the McNasty brothers. These are my roommates and shit.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why I was able to write a sitcom about it. And I went down, I went and ordered a beer, and the Lakers were playing, and I actually guy walked up. His name is Dennis Carroll. I didn't know him at that time. And he said, hey, man, how they playing? I said, oh, man, they look like they're getting their ass kicked or something like that. And we got to talking. And he said, hey, man, what do you do? And I told him, I just, hey, man, I'm trying to do this and everything. He said, really? He said, why don't you apply to LA County Probation Department? And he was a supervisor.
Nice.
He got me in. And if they ever tell you, wasn't no Indeed, wasn't all this. It's just
who you know.
It's all about opening your mouth.
Dude, that sounds like
talking
me
to
with
somebody.
teaching.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
$8, literally, probably close to that with my name, and then I just decided to do it. But I still think like all the time about quitting. But what's interesting is you like your POV
Right.
came from your job, which is interesting because it ended up
Right.
fueling.
Well, it fueled.
comedy.
I did theater in Denver. I didn't know shit. I'm sorry, I didn't know anything about probation. Nothing. I never dealt. How do I know how to structure criminals? especially juvenile criminals.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
really
I mean, I
information
walked,
you're born with.
huh?
It's not information you're born with.
No.
Like,
And luckily, that's like when I retired, it was and it's amazing how it happened. So here I'm at the job, and a buddy of mine calls me, and he had been retired 5 years. His name was we called him DK, and he called me. He said, "Hey, what up, Shipp?" I said, "Hey, what's up, DK?" He said, "You know why I'm calling you, right?" I said, "No, what's
Shipp.
going on?" Yeah, my last name is Shipp.
Oh, okay.
So
okay,
he said, "You know why I'm calling?" I said, "No." He said, "It's time to go, homie." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Dude, it's over." He said, "We're not there anymore. You need to get out because either you're going to get hurt or you're going to hurt somebody." And it just it was a sucker punch. I hadn't thought about retirement. I didn't know anything about this. I had went from that rookie 25. I got shot back to that young 25-year-old kid who didn't know anybody in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing there now. All of this that, I had come through this. I'd been at the same facility. And now I'm dealing with this. And I didn't know. And I was damn near in tears when it happened. And so that was in October of 20. So in October of 22. So in December of 22, they put me in the compound. And I had 18 murderers on one side.
Jeez, dude.
Right. And so I go in. I said, "Where do you want me to go?" And they said, "Yeah, look, And he said, "Yeah, Shipp, Unit W." And it was this guy who was a soup. I knew him back when he, because a lot of these guys that got promoted, I knew them when they got before where they were. So I knew what type of staff they were. And now I knew what kind of, now you're a supervisor. You think you big man on campus now, and so
cocky. Yeah.
he stuck me in this building. I got some little small black chick working on one side. I got this
with murderers, like a small chick is
right,
like
but she's on the other side.
She's helping.
Right, she's a staff.
Yeah.
And then I got this one woman sitting in the middle, and she's tiny. And so
why are they pairing up a bunch of murders with you and why are your like tiny women?
It's probation, right? It's
but this is juvenile hall, and this is where juvenile hall had landed. Because we used to you never worried about being afraid at work. If the staff isn't safe, the kids aren't safe.
That's true.
So we never worried about that. You were solid. If they needed you, hey man, you ain't got to worry about nothing because the cavalry's coming. If they put their hands on you, we got a brawl, a fight, you getting slammed.
Y'all got guns and stuff too?
This is it.
Nothing. No sticks. Nothing.
They even got to the point they didn't even want us to use the pepper spray that they gave.
Did you learn how to box different things?
I learned they taught you how to restrain, but then they took away the restraints where they used to give you a chicken wing. They took all that away.
What does it sound like? It sounds like LAUSD. It sounds like education, taken away,
slowly taking away everything.
You took away the tools
to implement
and the kids even said. Now it's bad when the kid tells you, "Hey, sir, why y'all act like punks? Why ain't y'all? Man, my uncle told me stories. If you stepped out of line, y'all got checked
down." Yeah.
And once the kids knew that we couldn't do what we used to do,
I was testing y'all.
Done.
Now
you're done.
Because now I do whatever I want. I'm grabbing booty and squeezing and disrespecting female staff, and I'm just doing whatever I want. And so when we're in that situation, it's 4:55 in the morning. All of a sudden, they start beating on the doors. I gotta use the bathroom. So I let the one kid out. You can only let one kid out at a time.
Yeah.
So I let the one kid out. He was taking his time in the bathroom. "Hey man, you need to hurry up. Man, you can't just walk in here, man. Dude, you need to hurry up." I knew he was in there getting hot because I smelled the weed. Then all of a sudden, everybody else beating him. "Hey man, let me out. I gotta use the bathroom, man." And the little black chick comes around the staff. They always do that. They be doing it, I'm like, you are not helping the situation. So I get on the phone. And I call movement control. That's the building, right? Then if you walked on our facility, it looks like a little city lit up at night. It's got an infirmary. It's got, it's got administration. You've got a court system. You got a full-on gym, 2 gyms. Got a church. You got a full school, swimming pool, everything. And
That's
so
nice.
and the big fields.
And they got all that. They can experience all that.
That's what your tax dollars pay for.
Wow.
And so we're there, and I say, hey man, and black kids yelling, man, you better open my door, you old bastard. And I said to myself, man,
So
I've never been called an
disrespectful.
old bastard. He has a kind of a nice ring to it. Yeah. Oh, you think you're funny? Think you're funny? I said, let me tell you something, homie. You probably in there for murder, but you ain't in there for murder for killing somebody with your bare hands. You shot somebody like a bitch.
Ooh.
That's what
Yes.
you shot somebody else. So let me tell you
I
something.
love that.
And
When
young
you
too.
bring your
Get
ass
ahead.
out that room, I'm gonna take this pen, I'm gonna shove it in your eye. You put your hands on me, if I'm gonna lose my job, I'm going out in style.
That's what's
So
up.
trust belongs trust. And guess what? I got a key to your room. So I can go back, get to my car, and guess what? I guarantee you ain't gonna ever come out. You don't know what I'm gonna bring back.
There you go.
What? Yeah.
I
Trust
love
me.
it.
Yeah.
And he's I said, yeah, think twice about what you got. So I called movement control. So when they sent the cavalry, all these guys show up, they start giving these head calls.
Yeah.
Cover the office, Shipp, cover the office, man, cover it up. So I see this white kid bolting toward the office, and and he grabs this giant gallon of lotion, he slings it into the office and spreads out and on the floor and everything. And so I'd slide in and his neck slid right into my hands, and we're tussling back and forth.
Yeah.
And they're like, Shipp, close the door, Shipp, close the door. Because now they're rushing the off. Oh, you messing with the homie? You messing with the homie? Oh, and so they started to rush. So I grabbed this wand, the one that used to check if you got metal on, and I'm swinging. Get back, Shipp, close the door, fool, close the door. And I'm trying to get him back, and I finally close the door. And so we get everything settled down, get him back in. And the supervisor comes up, his name's Hoagie. And Hoagie said to me, and I've known Hoagie for, he was, I knew him when he was a senior, and I knew him when he made soup. He's a Hispanic guy, and he said to me, Shippo, it's over, baby. Because I tweaked my back. He said, it's over. Don't come back.
So he fired you.
No.
He's
telling me,
it's
time to go.
It's time
Yeah.
to go.
Let it go.
So now you got two
so
people.
it's done. And so there it was.
Yeah.
And so I had to go to Kaiser. You got to go, do your whole medical thing. You got to go to Kaiser. And one of the guys, and they really helped me out. Not only did the guys help me with my paperwork, get everything signed up right, then one of the guys slipped me a card and said, hey man, give my cousin a call. Big time law firm. And I went and I filed my workman's comp lawsuit, which I won.
Good.
And
that's
and
awesome.
And hey, left out, And then when I finally put in, they said, hey, I did go down to Lacera, which is our retirement, and the lady said, Mr. Shipp, you can go. You can go. You got plenty of time. I walked away with 70%.
I love that. It's amazing.
And,
Dude, that's
amazing.
because
success
what I
story.
had done. So right before I was to go to this one church, and this one black chick that I work with, she said, Shipp, and she said, I put in for my retirement. She said, I want you, before this program is gone, go down to Lacera and buy 4 years. I said, really? She said, yeah, you can buy before they close it. So by buying those 4, instead of walking away with 33, I walked away with 37.
Nice.
And I end up, so that gave me my 70%. And that also, you walk away with 100% medical, and
Forever.
you get your pension. And all that's all those programs,
Pensions
they're
are
gone.
rare too.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, when I first started, they had a thing called Plan A, which is and it's called safety retirement, which is what the sheriffs had. And you could leave at 55. You could retire at 55. That's what they were doing. And slowly but surely, they start cutting those programs away because they didn't want to pay you. I mean, and that's where it gets political, because you're saying that I don't want to pay you. When someone says, oh man, immigration is our problem, and they're letting in all these Mexicans. No, they're not. It's not your problem. The problem is they don't want to pay you. If you go from the 70s, remember, salaries have been stagnating since 1971. Once Reagan changed, not only did he change the school system, but he turned around and he made it to where he cut taxes on corporations. He cut taxes on the rich, period. So where they were paying, say, 50% to 60%, and you as a middle class in the 80s,
way more,
you were making your money, and you were rolling. You were considered actual middle class.
Yeah.
Now, the rich have went up, and now, so you went from getting 60% of what you were used to get as a middle class, you're down now to 40. And now they're at 60. And, you know, where they used to be at 40%, they're getting 60. They're going up. Now that's how we got all the billionaires.
Yep.
That's how all this came about.
Not paying
You know,
taxes, yeah.
when Milton Friedman told Reagan, no more of this stuff about worrying about the employee, that's focused on the shareholder. And so when they did that, and they said, oh, and it's a legal immigration thing, he said, no. Long as we keep them illegal, it's the best thing because they will do the work and it helps our economy. So they're paying taxes. They don't get the medical that everyone keeps saying that they're getting. They're paying taxes and they don't get no Social Security. They're not paying Social Security.
To your point, man, I've always said that the fact that no matter when people say anything on one side or the other, if no one's doing anything about something, it's because they benefit from it.
Right.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So they benefit like, oh, we need to build a wall, but they love the low wage earners, right? Because you're right. You don't have to pay them. You're paying them basically nothing.
Right.
You know?
Because that was the deal cut with NAFTA.
Yeah.
But they screwed Mexico. But then again, they also, so when you see all these towns, all these deserts like Illinois had all those desert towns because they used to be industrial. They're industrial deserts now.
Illinois has a lot of
towns. Ohio. When you take away all of those different things, you know, you took that away. You sent that overseas because they wanted to make you and I a consumer. So you're going to consume. We're going to get that product for you cheaper. You can't go and get a Ford truck today. That's why they talked about Trump and said, dude, if you dog out Canada and Mexico, you can't build a Ford truck without Canada and Mexico because those parts are not here. There are certain parts in Mexico that they built, and there's certain parts in Canada that you can't get. We don't have certain minerals. That's why we changed everything. We don't like Dave Chappelle said, we want to wear Nikes. We don't want to make them. So all this stuff about making us bring all that back, no.
That's not happening.
There's certain, and if you, Apple's going to bring blah, blah, blah. No, you're not.
No, as soon as Trump is out of office, all this stuff that people are promising will just go away.
Well, because, he's not your problem. Voight is your problem. Russell Voigt is your problem. He's the guy, he's a white nationalist. They got number white nationalists working there.
Yep.
They're part of the problem. They want to break the system because they're worried about it. There's a guy by the name of Jeffrey Sachs. He's an economist. And he knows about, and he even said it. He said, they're worried about being replaced. So what they're trying to do is, he said, and he's a white cat, and he just said, this is all about race. He said they're worried about being replaced. They're worried about the problems of that they, of what is coming, but it's what they created. And if you can go as far back as Lyndon B. Johnson when he stated, all you got to do is get that white man to believe he's better than that brother, and that is not his exact words, but if you get it, you can pick his pocket. Yeah. They've been voting against their own interests for years. They just did it again. You put a felon, and he did what he did. He's caught. He's a crook. The dude bankrupt 6 casinos. No, he filed for bankruptcy 6 times, and he bankrupt 2 casinos. How do you do that? That's why all of his loans, he got them out of Russia. All his money, America wouldn't give him no more loans. They wouldn't touch him. He was poisoned because he's ripped off everybody. His daddy made his money off FHA loans, which the redlining, which was Illinois, California, all 50 states. You want to know why there's a problem? If you read a book called The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein, he lays it out why we have the issues that we have. Because by the time and the reason why they want things the way they used to be, which is not going to happen, after the GI Bill was given, right? You could go to college. Guys were going to college and buying their first home. You didn't have to pay those loans back.
That's true.
By the time a brother got a black dude, because really at that time, it wasn't a Mexican. The black dude was what the Mexicans going through right now. That was him.
Yep.
And here it is, you fought for civil rights and you didn't allow whites and blacks to get married, interracial marriage till what, 67? That was the Lovey Law.
Yep.
65, you had the
yeah, it was
voting.
illegal. That's crazy.
Yeah. And voting right law, that was 65. Civil rights was 64.
Yep.
And we still, and what, Jim Crow didn't end till 64? And it really wasn't completely gone. And then you say, well, why is everything so divided? Well, you've already did the damage, because by the time blacks will never catch up. By the time they gave brothers the GI Bill, they amended it. White folks were ahead $350,000 to $100. And so if you didn't get your cut, when people say, oh, there's no white privilege, you got a cut. You were able to get a loan that you didn't even have to pay back. Even Martin Luther King said, I was wrong. I sent my people into a burning house. He told them, he said, dude, I can't even fix this. No matter how good we do, you say, build your own. Pull yourself up by your boot. We followed all the rules.
Got nothing.
And that's why when I talk to guys, they're talking about immigration, I say, bro, what is an immigrant? Do you understand black people helped you get that civil rights? What do you think? You already got in. You didn't have to fight for anything. Matter of fact, a DEI, you're a DEI. So you get rid of 4 or 5, 4 and 5, 4-star or 3-star, 4-star generals and give me Pete Hegseth, who's an alcoholic and a wife abuser. This is what you replaced them with? And he says, oh, everything, that's not DEI. And what that is doing is chaos. And it doesn't even matter, because the average person, literacy is down, which is what you guys are dealing with.
Yep.
Literacy is down. You have a problem with we pay people to read cursive writing today. We pay them to read it because they don't have
because people don't know.
They don't teach it in school, right?
That
What's that?
cursive
They stopped teaching that in
is
school.
not a thing. And I used to think cursive was such BS.
Yeah.
There's so many things I used to think that were such BS until I actually started teaching.
Right.
And I'm like, no, it's a valuable skill.
Oh my God. Do you watch kids
it's a valuable
print?
skill.
It takes forever.
Well, okay, so every morning.
There's a reason why they invented cursive, guys.
Dude, I do drama, and so
why did they stop it in school? Why did they stop it?
You know why? Because kids got no.
Chromebooks.
It's very simple. You ready? Kids got so incredibly lazy with it, right? And then it's like, then you got people coming in, well, teaching them cursive, you know what? That's not really that important, blah, blah, blah. And so they went to printing. And I didn't realize it was like 15 years ago. I was proctoring an SAT exam on a Saturday as a sub. And literally I was like, all right, guys, just write this out. It's your little declaration or whatever. And a kid took 30 minutes. And I walked over, I go, what's the problem? And he was printing. And I went, wait, writing cursive. And he goes, I don't know how.
Wow.
And I'm like, and then that's how I found out that kids don't know how to.
Dude, a lot of kids don't know how to write. A lot of kids don't know how to read. And so the thing is like, I teach drama, right? Every single morning, it's like what I have them do when they come in. There's a journal prompt that's on the board, and the journal prompt is something super simple. It's like 2 sentences or whatever. But there's a lot of kids who will just look at the journal prompt and just be like, and then I'm going over there. I'm like, do you need help or anything? They're like, no, I'm good. But they don't know how to do it. And it's crazy too, because sometimes the journal prompt too, to your point of like Juvie, one kid wrote, my favorite place is to be home because there are no rules. Right. And I was like, oh, that's why you're crazy in my classroom.
Right. And that's what we did to kids at Juvie. We took away that. You took we stuck our foot in his ass. And they because they can't because if you are raised with no rules, every single adult that you meet for the rest of your life is the enemy. Right. Until and mind you, we weren't there to destroy your self-esteem and self-confidence. What we were trying to do, but I need you to structure in society. If we brought you out, okay, so we're going to school. You have to march them to the school. Got 17 kids, and they'll call on movement control. All right, unit L and M. L side, step out first, then M side. So when they step out, they got to make sure they're all lined up and put their arms out, make sure you're not anybody. Parade rest, hands behind your back. And you walk all the way to that school with your hands behind your back, up the hill and down, and you would go to school and you would take them to each class, mind you. And we would tell them, dude, you get thrown out of class today or anything like that, guaranteed. I will call your probation officer and such, because you had to chart on them every day.
Absolutely.
And doing all these different things. And, you know, you had kids that needed to get medication. You had kids, you know, but you had to know the codes, because some kids, when they first started, staff get lazy or whatever, and you put a kid in with a rapist, you know, and he find out that he can, or a staff wants to have a couple other kids, you know, hey man, check that kid for me, man. The motherfucker, he doing such and such. Check his ass. You know, well, they take him down in the room and they rape him.
Wow.
You know, now what you gonna do? Now you're going to jail because you told him to do it. Or you got, you know, if you have a kid that you want another kid to you know, slam him up or work him over a few, that kid goes to his judge and the judge said, what happened to you? Oh, that kid beat me up. That kid's going to tell the judge, well, they told me to do it. Who told you to do it? What's his name? Now you finna lose your job.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get sued. So when all the lawsuits start coming because of all the bad mistakes that they were making, probation got in trouble. And who did they blame? They're going to blame the staff.
Yep.
Okay, because you're taking away their tools and everything. You're not staffing the facility. The facility has to be staffed. Oh, don't put your hands on it. So then they changed our restraint classes to where you have to pin and parry. So basically, you hold him, lay him down.
It's the same thing as
hold
LAUSD.
together, and
It's
we
great.
lay
Sounds like you guys are
him,
dating.
All this
and
BS that
you turn
Wow.
and parry. And I was like, really?
dude.
That's crazy. So, because a question for you: do they put everybody together, all the gang bang, all the Bloods together, all the Crips together?
You got to know who's who. Once you find out who's who, you know, and
you find that out by their
because
file.
You have to find
because
that
18
question.
Streets has a green light on them.
Okay.
Always. So you don't put them in with Hoover or somebody else. You know, you got to know who's who, and they'll ask them who you got a beef with. What gang do you have beef with? Don't tell me you don't gang bang. I know you do.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm gonna read your file and find out you laughing, you're screwing up from the time you're coming in.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, and so you're laying down, but you're also being fair.
Okay.
Okay, you let them know, hey, bro. Like I had a kid. We had a kid. He came in, and he killed a kid with a bat. He was up in Santa Clarita. Good kid, straight A student.
Wow.
He wanted this kid to leave him alone. So they lost this game. They lost a team that they should have beat. He said, man, leave me alone, man. He kept teasing him. Kid kept teasing him.
He lost
That
it.
dude took that bat, bow, bust him in his knee, and
It
bow,
kept-
yeah,
it kept going.
across his
Wow.
head. And next thing you know, dude hits the concrete, he's dead.
Wow.
And before you know it, he's like, shit, I didn't kill him. Right? And so now what do? So now you got to deal with this. He's, you know, and
So what happens to a kid like that, really
Well,
quickly? He goes to
he's-
juvie, but then what happens to him after juvie?
well,
Like,
this kid, while he's in it, when he goes to the judge, he doesn't have a record. He's a straight A student. He got tired of the dude teasing. People deal with teasing different. He felt like he was being bullied. He wanted the kid to leave him alone. He didn't think it through. And the kid wouldn't stop. And that was the only way he knew to get him to stop. So now the kid's dead. You killed somebody. You didn't mean to kill him. So you are going to go to jail. So you're going to go to juvie
And get out.
until you go to the court. Once you go to court, you know, the judge is going to look at the severity of your case. And he's going to go, okay, you know, you'll stay at juvie till you're like 18. And then from there, you know, it depends if they feel you should go to county youth authority. If you learn your lesson or what, they might let you go. Used to be, they put you in jail. I mean, I had some 16, 17-year-olds got 50 to 100 years.
Oh,
Damn, really?
But yeah,
wow.
but they don't do that. They don't do that anymore because
They stopped that.
what are you doing? I mean, if we
Jail's
were
too
more
crowded.
like Norway, did you see the thing on the Norwegian?
I heard it's crazy over there. Yeah.
Norwegian prison?
Yeah.
Dude, you got murderers whose room looks like this, and they got TVs, and they got school, and they
Really?
can have
They
coffee
play
and
Xbox and
yes.
so how is it?
Wow.
prison?
How did you learn?
This is their prison in Norway. They actually rehabilitate you. They do
Wow.
not beat you down. Ask the guy, you ever been raped?
Is
You
the
ever been
actual-
raped? Or no, you ever been beat down? No, you ever been? He said, no, I have my own private shower. You don't even have to be around anybody. Because the key is to not keep you here.
In the system. Yeah.
It is here to
Is the
rehabilitate.
rehabilitation good? Does it actually work over there?
Keep your
Yeah,
system.
Norway. Oh, dude, they got it made. They don't come back. He said, "Well, have you been to jail in America?" Oh, no, I don't want to go to America. Nobody wants to go to America. You go to America, they send you to like if you ever see on YouTube, and I made comedy about it, but it's amazing that they have these almost like AA, where you have to stand before the guys and say it's a gang rape AA. If you've been gang raped, so all the guys in the room and they'll sit like we're sitting. They'll sit. Please stand and state your name and let us know why you're here. Hi, my name is Bill. Welcome, Bill. Yeah. Bill, why are you here? I was gang raped, and he describes why and how he got gang raped. And, because, you don't, when you go to prison, you don't ask for anything. You don't take nothing. A candy bar will get you raped. Okay.
You owe them.
Yeah. That candy bar is expensive. Cigarettes are expensive. Oh man, hey man, whatever you need, man, I'm here for you, homie. Like what you don't know is that the guy that comes over to you and says, hey man, if you need anything, he is already he's being pimped out already. There's a guy that sent him to you because he sees that you're fresh meat. He wants you to get him to bring to the master.
Yeah.
And then the master gonna break him off. And they'll say, man, I do this, but I ain't gay and nothing. It's just the way it is up in here. And they got their own rules.
Yep.
These are their rules. So don't accept anything. Stay to yourself. And in the South, it ain't about gangs. It's, white and black or some guys hanging with the brothers. Now, in West Coast is different. They got a lot of gangs. Seattle, gangs, so it's a different deal. And they're serious about it. They got their own rules.
Yeah. So it's not a race thing, because in juvenile, like
they have a race thing, but but you still got brothers that don't get along because they're gangs. If they're enemies, they ain't getting along.
Yeah.
But if you go to the county,
that's a different story.
Then it's race.
Yeah, it's race.
And it doesn't matter if you're gang, like of your gang at all.
If you
get more just race.
The thing is, I used to tell kids. We had a kid. I don't know if I ever told you guys, but this kid Gomez. Gomez was a Hispanic kid, and he walk around with rollers in his hair. He's in for killing his pimp. Cut him from ear to ear because the guy beat the crap out of me. So he slipped up on him, sliced him. And so he was in, and he was waiting to go through the thing. And so he kept the unit clean. He cleaned, he laid out all the food, all the stuff, And, people would talk to us. So they brought this big black kid in who had been giving people trouble. He's probably about 6 feet, 6'1". Gomez probably 5'8", and he'd walk around doing his thing. And the dude said, look at this punk, call him gay and all these different names. And he said, all right, I ain't gonna be too many more of them. Then he said, oh, you want to do something? He said, tell you what, when I'm done here, I'll come see you. He said, cool. And buddy man said, watch. And when Gomez went back to dude, he said, oh, you ready? You want to do something? As soon as the brother went to hit him, Gomez stepped in like Roberto Duran. Bow, dropped him.
Trust
back in the way he went, hi. And walked away.
Trust me.
He was a former Golden Glove boxer.
He was?
Wow.
Golden Glove boxer.
See, don't tell
He got raped when he was a kid.
Oh,
and that's how he ended up gay.
Yep.
And so, like but
they hard, trust me.
Yeah, he had. I mean, I used to tell people, he might be crooked, but his fist is straight. I'm telling you right now. Need to leave dude alone, man.
There's so many crazy stories, dude, that I'm sure that you have for days. We actually got to wrap up in a second, but like if you could give one message to kids who are, maybe have a little bit of a toe in the waters that could land them in juvie, what would you say?
I would immediately, I try to find out what they want to do with their lives. I would tell them, if you're just being raised by your moms, I'm telling you, bruh,
the father
help if you're raised by a single parent, or just you and your dad, take your butt to school and do what your parents ask you to do. Absolutely. You don't want that smoke. Because if you go in, all it takes is one. If you're not going to school, this is how they used to say, you don't take your butt to school. If you ain't going to school and you ain't got a job, you're going to jail. And they're waiting to get you. And if you're hanging with the wrong crowd, trust me, we had a kid at Juvie who he came in, he was he was an All-American football player, came out of Long Beach, 6'4", about 250. And he was going top, hanging out with his homies. They rolled up on some people, shot him. They gave the gun to him. And he took the rap.
Wow.
And they ended up giving him 50 years.
Yeah.
Ruined his life, done. And they was like, hey, bro, this is for the homie, man. I can't. Took the rap. Ruined it.
I heard a lot of those stories.
Yeah. And it's you need to understand. It's that all it takes is one time.
That's it. Not
4, not 5, 1. Now if you say you get in some trouble one time and then you say, oh, okay, I missed it, and they didn't get you, keep hanging with the same people. Or it's like the guy who allows his homie to come pick him up. He just made it through court and his homie picks him up in a stolen car. But he didn't tell him that the car was stolen.
Wow.
And within a 24-hour period, you're back in jail.
Yep.
These are the people if he's your friend, he wouldn't do you like that. Who picks their homie up in a stolen Mercedes? Oh, man, shoot, we about the road, man. Look, man, I got my uncle's car, man. Well, he didn't look down and see the dude that he ain't got no key. He didn't pick it. He didn't hotwire it and got in the car.
Yeah.
And
he should notice that right away.
Right. Yeah. And one of the main things they need is mentoring.
Absolutely.
Mentoring is very important because they got questions. They want to talk. I mean, you guys have seen when I've been at open mics and I'm talking to these young guys who they're in their 30s, they're 35. Dude, they act like they're 15. They don't know how to date. They don't know how to take out women. They're going through tough times. Who's the most dangerous person today? What is they talking about? The lonely man today? What is that?
Doesn't know how to talk to girls.
Right. Yeah. Doesn't know how to talk to girls. He's angry.
Yeah.
He don't know who he is.
That's true.
And he can learn. That's the thing. I think the reason why those guys lash out is because they think that they can't learn.
Right. But then again, they started this whole masculinity thing. What is that? What is being a man? The question has to be asked, but you can't say being a man if you don't know who you are.
That's true.
You don't know where you're going. Know thyself. It is just a proven fact. You can go for life. You can, whether it's Socrates you want to call it, but know thyself. Know where you are going. My girl asked, why, our relationship is going so well. I said, because I like me. I have a life. And I know who the hell I am. And I said, I don't need you to make me happy. I'm already happy. So I'm not getting in a relationship saying that, hey, I need you to do something for me. No, I'm a man. And I said, part of being in these relationships, you have to meet the obligations and responsibilities in your life. If you can't meet an obligation and responsibility for yourself, how can you be a father?
Yeah.
What are you going to teach them? Yeah. What are you going to show them? If you don't want to learn anything, what happened to critical thinking? Critical thinking's gone. There's no thought.
That's true.
There's no thinking.
That's real.
There's nothing wrong with sitting and taking your phone away from you and sit and think and be within. You remember do you ever see the movie Hurricane?
Yeah.
With Denzel,
the boxer. Yeah.
And what did he said, I live in my mind. While you are asleep, I'll be awake. And when you guys are awake, I'll be asleep. Even with everything that was going on around him, he was learning to be who he was.
To be like in the moment and be
and in the moment and acknowledge. Mm-hmm. And I know people say, this philosophical crap you're talking, Shipp. But hey, man, it is what it is. And if you don't know how to do it, I mean, I didn't know anybody when I came to LA. Mm-hmm. And my demons showed up at the edge of my bed. You think you're leaving? No, all that child trauma is following you wherever the heck you're going.
That's real stuff.
And they're telling, dude, if you just deal with us, these are your grade school demons, your high school demons, and adult demons. And they're asking you, deal with us because we are part of you. And if you don't, guess what? You can drink all you want. You can do as many drugs as you want. We will still be here.
And you from East St. Louis, so you know it ain't a
you
joke
know
over there.
you've been
You know what I'm
through.
saying?
Right, but I mean, you know, it's and then, but it's also exposure.
Absolutely.
You know, when we do, you know, when I would do stand up in you know, Huntington Beach or Hermosa Beach or whatever, I'm the headliner and I'm the only brother in the room. But it's, hey man, you know, but also I lived in Denver.
Absolutely.
So I crisscrossed the cultures of
So my
life.
girlfriend's dad is from not from Denver, but from Colorado, or
Oh,
he
like-
might be from Denver.
I mean, I lived in Aurora and everything. So,
Yeah.
you know, exposure, I think for a lot of people is also key, you know, because like my niece's, not my niece, but my girl's grandson got, you know, some white kids told him, you know, his parents had said, well, I can't hang with you. Why not? Because you're African. Now, this kid's 5. They're 5.
So crazy.
This is what you're teaching?
Parents are
Where did he
still
learn
teaching
that?
kids
Parents.
He learned it from his parents.
Yeah, man. Anytime I call a kid's dad because he says something racist, the dad's usually like, okay, thanks, bye.
Right.
You know,
But they're
and it's like
also
they learn
blaming.
it from.
I mean, yeah, you can't keep, and that's how people get to the point that they miss out on jobs, because if you don't expose them, you know, one thing about coming out of the ghettos of East St. Louis and then going to Denver, Colorado, I love Denver.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't keep the mentality. I embraced what was given to me. I learned how to, you know, go to kegger parties and hang with white dudes. I never, Skull brother, I got introduced to all kinds of stuff that I didn't know. I went to college in Tyler, Texas, where I ended up meeting an Asian dude with a Southern accent. That's
the first time you see that, you're like, what is going on?
Right.
I've still never seen it. But
Honestly,
it makes my brain hurt.
It's crazy.
You gotta watch the movie.
Talking that.
Watch Sinners. Is it Sinners? The movie.
Right, but that's
Yeah.
because it's historical.
Does he have a Southern
because
accent, the Asian guy in that?
Yeah.
yeah, because
I
it's
forgot.
back then in Mississippi, when Asians would come to town or when they moved here, they weren't really able to sell to white people. They could sell to blacks.
Yep.
They couldn't sell to
so
white.
that's
So
that
that
character in the
first
movie.
generation of Asian is the one that ended up, you know, so you had the parents that came, they were talking like, you know, like they just got off the boat. But their children, as they grew up, sounded like Pookie down the street.
Yeah.
The culture that
like
they were
Bubba. And going down there to the boy and shoe shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Going down, what the hell did you just say?
The Cajun accent.
Yes.
Yeah.
First time you hear it, you go, can you please repeat that in English?
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
You know,
very.
so I
deep.
was blown. I think it's hilarious, but you know, I just really, you know, to answer your question, I really think kids today, you know, because I was raised to, you know, you take care of your family, you take care of home.
Yeah.
You know, you be there for your moms because you're gonna need them. You know, because I mean, I just see it. I see people, you know, especially young women as well as young men, late 30s, and they're feeling it, and they're still trying to. It's like they're trying to get back into their parents' womb. You know, they want to.
Great way to put it.
Yeah, because they don't want to, but yet they want this lifestyle. And I pissed off some friends of mine, and I said, it's not what you think it is. He said, what is it? I said, it's not the house, it's not the car, it's what we're doing right now. This is the most simplest thing in the world to do. And I really believe you've been duped. You can go, I mean, I'm going to Cabo for my thing. Okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna enjoy myself. I'm gonna come back. And it's just a memory. It's not what you think. Life is not what you think.
Yep.
If that was the case, why was Lil Nas walking down the street naked?
Yep.
And they found out he wasn't on drugs.
He
They
wasn't?
found out he wasn't drinking.
Wow.
He had a psychotic situation where he just snapped.
Wow.
He's got everything. He's rich.
Yeah.
Worked his way up. He was he
didn't
was
fix
broke,
anything, though.
poor, worked his way up, and now you're walking around in white boots and your tidy whities, and you really don't know what's
What's up?
and next thing you know, you're up on a felony charge because you attacked a cop while you were naked. You got the money. Why are all of these people
You can't clean the outside of the dish. You got to clean the inside.
having all of these issues when they have all of the money? And they thought, well, once I get even the winning the lottery.
sure.
That's why it's called the curse of the lottery, because their lives were fine, and then they get the money, and the next you know, they buy all this crap.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But then they found out I was fine the way I was. It didn't do for me what they thought it was. I mean, I know it's cool to have nice things, but eventually, you know, what we need is, you need a car. We're just trying to get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I live a practical life. People say, man, how do you live in California? I said, because I live practically. You know, I don't, you know, I got some nice things. I've traveled. I've made some good money. But it's the same with retirement. If you don't have a life when you retire,
you're done.
You're going to lose your mind.
And you're going to go get old real quickly.
Yeah, because you have to have that.
That's
Dude,
true.
that's a mic drop, man. Where can people find you at?
Oh, TymonShipp.com or
that's
Tymon.
Tymon.
Oh, Tymon, Tymon, Shipp, SHIPP.com. That's my website. Or you can get me at TymonShipp at gmail.com.
And then what about like Instagram?
I have same thing, Tymon Shipp.
Tymon Shipp.
Yeah, Facebook, Tymon Shipp. It's you know, it's from me working on myself. Like I'm moving in with my girl. People said there's something you're gonna find that my friend said, well, why aren't you excited? Because you lose something. And you lose your freedom.
Yeah.
And that do you talk to yourself?
Yeah.
You talk to yourself?
In a monologue all the time.
Right. But I'm saying when you're at home and you're in your own place.
I do all the time.
No, in your own home.
Yeah.
In my head.
No. When you're at home by yourself. When you're
I talk to myself and I talk to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell myself a lot.
I don't talk out loud.
I talk to myself every day. When I was a kid, I had an invisible friend named Mr. Leonard. My brother James, they thought I was crazy. My dad thought, he said, boy, you don't even drink and you talk to yourself. So it is, but that, when I read the Comic Insight with
Franklin Ajayi.
Yeah. He talked about the voice in the head is who your point of view is. That's the guy that you need to put on the stage. That's the dude that's breaking, that's trying to get out.
That's a great book, dude. I need to go back and reread it.
Oh,
I read it when I was 16.
It was like, to me, it was like the Bible because he broke down three of the greats.
It's the interviews with Carlin and Ellen DeGeneres.
Well, and when he broke down Pryor, Carlin, and Cosby, and what they were and everything. Ellen DeGeneres, I love what she had to say. She said
the thing about fleas,
about creating a conversation
between her and God. That's what launched
because when you said when you think you're going too fast, slow down, and you need to understand if you can stand in the silence. That's where the comedy is, because you have to wait to make sure that the audience is registering what you just said. So just because they didn't laugh right away, wait. That's the old Shelley Berman. That's how Shelley Berman knew that the comedy is within the silence. And he was a storyteller. And he would take a drag off his cigarette and wait. And he'd be sitting on a stool, and then all of a sudden, here comes the laughter.
That's why some people, and I don't advocate for it, but that's why some comics drink, because it slows you down.
Right. But then
everything is.
So you were talking about Pat. Pat never wanted comedians to go up on stage with liquor. She said, because you'll eventually slur your words. If you're funny sober, that's when you know you're funny. If you can be funny without drinking, you're funny.
Yeah.
You think you need to be funny because you got a drink in your hand? Okay, because eventually you ask for a second, a third drink. Now you're getting drunk.
Now you fucked up.
You know, and now you're slurring your words, and people are not listening to you. And it was a great,
stupid.
You know, it's a great thing. But some guys, that's their style. That's what they've been doing for years. But I think it's for me. I think I told my girl, I said, you know what? I still need to have a room where I can just escape. That's why men have men caves, because you need to think. We don't want anything else after you feed us and give us, you know, give us what we need in the bedroom, then that's it. Yeah. You know, and then give us some peace. Boom, it's done. We don't want nothing else. You know, you may want to, you know, I don't really, you know.
We're a lot more simple than we realize. We're complex, but we're simple.
Absolutely.
But
we got to have you back to hear more of your story.
Great interview, man.
No, dude, this has been awesome.
Yeah,
amazing interview.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm at a point in my life that I don't mind sharing. I mean, I did Terry Boo's thing, and I'm still at a point in my life. I'm still learning. I'm 60.
That's-
I'll be 60. I'll be 61 on the 16th, and I'm still learning, but I do enjoy the conversation because I think it's the simpleness of life that is the beauty of life, that you're going to enjoy what we're doing right now. You can't buy this. It's not for sale. You know, and if you end up, I talked to one of the comedians. He said, "Man, what I owe you is you don't owe me nothing. Just pass it on. You can't hurt me.
Yeah.
Okay, just not telling a guy, well, what if you tell somebody about a gig? It's up to the booker to book them once they send them their tape. Long as you tell a dude, you don't have to give him, he don't have to ask for a recommendation. He just have to say, hey man, yeah, so-and-so, somebody gave me here's my tape, I want to do. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to stop people from performing, or you don't want to tell somebody about a job. I mean, they asked me, about the cruise ships, because Kimberly Clark asked me about it, and she did it. She did Virgin, and she thought that she did okay. And I said, Kimberly, if 70% of what you did worked, then you've succeeded. Because you're dealing, I said, that demographic is 45 to 80.
Yep.
Right. And it's you have to know, they want to talk about life.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go into the depths. You can't be Thumper. You can't go into the depths of
Dude, there's no way. Okay, I know who you're talking about. There's no way.
You can't go
nobody.
there. So, and I've had to follow him, and I know, so how you think I can do cruise ship? No.
You're the man. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Dude.
Dope interview, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you,
man.
Well,
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
We have so much many clips.
Oh my God.
By the way,
it's gonna be fun clipping this.
do you want us? Yeah, Zoe's gonna